and a big change coming in the NFL, coming to the overtime rules. There isn't going to be another situation like Josh Allen last year, Ziggy, where the Chiefs score a touchdown and you let one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL get knocked out of the playoffs without having a chance to tie the game. Now in the playoffs, each team is going to have one possession regardless of what the first team does with the football. So if the team that gets the ball first scores a touchdown, second team gets the ball and a chance to win the game if they score a touchdown, a 2-point conversion. I love it. I think it's a great change. It adds competition, adds more strategy to the game. I'm all for this. I know that you, however, are not.
We say it adds more competition. We say it adds more strategy. Fortunately, the regular season of the NFL is being left untouched here. But the fact is, with this change, I think the NFL is ruining overtime. I feel like I'm the only person in the world of this take, even though I know that's not true. But, Paul, you know me. I like to watch defenses play football. I think the overemphasis on offense has gotten exhausting. I think it's ridiculous that the only perspective we're looking at is perspective of the quarterback. Imagine Aaron Donald when it comes time for overtime. Aaron Donald, under the current system, gets a big chance to just put the game away right now. Defense is emphasized. He still can. Of course he still can. But defense is really emphasized. It's one of the only things left in the NFL that puts the defense in any way, in any situation, more important than the offense. It's basically the only thing left in the rules that says bringing on defensive players is important. You can't just have an overpowered offense and no defense and make it all the way to the Super Bowl. But we're giving up on that. I think
that's a ridiculous take. I think that's a ridiculous take.
This is great for ratings. This is big for NFL ratings. They'll get their opportunity to let games go on a little bit longer, have the biggest faces and biggest stars of the league do their thing, but it makes me sad to see that, again, one of the only places in the rules where you're rewarded for having a competent defense is being taken away. And for what?
I'm saying you can still have a competent defense win the game with this rule. You still can. Mahomes and the Chiefs last year got the ball in overtime, red hot, drove right down the field, game's over. Josh Allen should be awarded a chance. And look, I know that I'm citing the Chiefs-Bills game, but there are many situations going back where this rule will impact games. Like, think about the Super Bowl. New England and Atlanta. New England goes right down the field and scores. They're a red-hot offense. Matt Ryan doesn't even have a chance to tie the game. I'm just saying that I think the defensive, like, from your standpoint and the people who are arguing that defense, it was a focal point of the previous overtime rules, it doesn't change that much. If your defense gets a stop, it's still huge. Defense gets a stop on the first possession, you win the game with the field goal. So get a stop. I just think now, if there's a crazy overtime play like Demaryius Thomas and Tim Tebow years ago, Ben Roethlisberger now gets a chance to go back out on the field.
Paul, your argument would make sense if there weren't limited resources available in the NFL. What we've seen is teams committing increasing amounts of resources to the offense because the defense is just less important. So what this situation does is it continues to make the defense less important than they could be. Here's how it's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of games like this.
Enlighten me.
Of overtime games in the playoffs. Teams will be committed to offense, right? So you've got one offense. They march down, score a touchdown, kick a field goal because going for two is insane. The other offense marches down, scores a touchdown, kicks their extra point because going for two is insane. Then the next offense gets the ball, marches down, kicks their field goal, wins the game. And what are fans going to say? Well, I'm a baby. Both quarterbacks should have gotten 2 opportunities. They need to have the same number of opportunities. Josh Allen is just sitting on the sideline crying. Because Patrick Mahomes got his second chance in sudden death.
I disagree with this. And I think that I'm going to relate to the college football playoff. When people talk about expansion for the college football playoff, they say, well, if you go to 6, if you go to 8, what's going to stop you from going to 12 or 16? And my response as an advocate for a 6 or an 8-team playoff is, well, you just cut it off at 8. You cut it off at 6. You say hard cut right there. It's not that hard to just say, okay, no higher than 8. Let's not get carried away here. And I think the same thing is going to go for the NFL playoffs.
I'm not saying there's going to be a slippery slope change in the rules. That's not what I mean. But you seriously think, let's go back to the Chiefs-Bills games. Mahomes scores a touchdown.
Sure.
Allen scores a touchdown.
They would
Chiefs
go for
kick
two.
a field goal and win the
They
game.
would go for two. There's no doubt in my mind that Buffalo would have gone for two.
Then you're going to see this.
Overtime rules.
Then you're going to see this. The rules are unfair. The Bills are forced to go for two. The game was decided by a coin toss all along. Fans already think the game's decided by a coin toss when that's obviously not true.
No, but they're saying it's
and the Chiefs are
decided.
unstoppable.
They're saying it's decided by a coin toss because their MVP candidate isn't allowed to have an impact on overtime. If you give Josh Allen the ball, he scores a touchdown, ties the game. Going for two, you're putting the ball in your best player's hand, and he has the opportunity. Right now, if the Chiefs score a touchdown, there is no opportunity at all. And I think it's great. I think there's even some thought on the offensive side for the first team to even go for two. It's kind of crazy, like you said.
No, it's not crazy. It's wrong.
No, I probably wouldn't do it, but there definitely is strategy to go along with it.
There's not strategy here. Going for two would basically, unless you think, I did the math on this. You'd need to be something like 68 to 70% confident your 2-point conversion attempt's going to work. And no team ever has converted anywhere.
No. And I'm saying I wouldn't do it, but there are coaches. I think of Mike Tomlin back a couple of years ago, and he was consistently going for two. There are coaches who would consider this to really put the pressure on the opposing offense. But ultimately here, you're then giving your defense the chance to win the game. Your defense for that first team then has a chance. Okay, get a stop. Get one stop. Or don't allow them to score the 2-point conversion. Then you get the ball back to your offense.
If you can't get a stop, no big deal, because we only care about offense and hand out participation trophies to teams that build their entire team around the offense.
I don't see how you're not understanding the importance of defense. It's not like the defense has no influence on the game anymore.
Sure, the defense has an influence, but now defense is going to continue to be less important than offense because the defense screws up. They give a big play. No worries. We put 80% of our cap into the offense. All we do is score. It doesn't matter if the opposing team scores. And we'll just get a 2-point conversion anyway because we're delusional and think we're going to convert.
I understand.
You can't deny that it's de-emphasizing the only place in the rules where defense gets to have a similar impact as the offense.
Okay, I'll give you that. It de-emphasizes defense, but it does not make the defense unimportant. The defense is still crucial to this.
They're not nearly as important as they otherwise would be.
So let's just get the record straight here. In the situation of last year, Chiefs have a couple miracle plays essentially, tie up the game, go to overtime. They score a touchdown. You do not want to see Josh Allen on the field. You say game over.
I want to see Bradley Bean invest a little bit in the defense. That's what I want to see.
Okay. I'm not gonna run around in circles here. I love the rule change. You do not. I know that a lot of people have strong feelings on this, both pro and anti-rule change.
I think pretty much everyone's in favor of this rule change.
No, see, I heard Michael Kay, New York radio host, was not happy at all. He was very upset with this. I've heard quite a few people who do not like the change, and I don't understand why, because I want to see. I guess I'm taking the fan perspective because that's kind of what we are. We're a fan show. I want to see these star players have the chance to continue the game, to keep playing, to have an opportunity. But I'm happy we got it.